If you are looking for something to be thankful for, try this. You're better off than a billionaire. Welcome to Sharpening Arrows, where we train teens to think biblically about life and politics. I'm your host, Victor Jakes. If you want to watch this show, we are on YouTube, youtube.com/@sharpening-arrows, youtube.com/@sharpening-arrows. Today, very likely, you will be treated to the treat of my children on the screen. I have promise/bribe/incentivize them that if they're quiet during the recording, they can come on at the end. So we'll see. You can also see my son's growing Lego collection on the shelf behind me if that's of interest. And if you just want to listen, that's totally fine too. Now, why do we sharpen arrows? Obviously, that's a reference to Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And then the arrows comes from Psalms 127:4, like arrows in the hands of a warrior are sons born in one's youth. And the reason we do this is because we know that they're going to leave and head out into the world. And a couple of days ago, one of my sons gave me an example of this. Now he's 7 years old and decided to make Christmas cards for our neighbors. That was nice. Now, running out the front door without permission to deliver the card, not so nice. But there he was. Comes back, starts writing a second card, has a Bible open in front of him, and is writing random Bible verses into the card. And my wife looks to see what he's doing and realizes that he's written down Deuteronomy 32:42. Now, that's probably not familiar to you, and here's why. This is what my son had written on the card that he was about to deliver to our neighbors. I will make my arrows drunk with blood. I love you. I'm not sure what Bible verse was on the first card, but our neighbor has not disowned us, so I'll take that as a positive. But just a personal reminder that our arrows are getting sent out, and we need to do our best to prepare them. Needless to say, that Thanksgiving card did not make it to the neighbors, and it is Thanksgiving. What a blessing! And I wanted to do a Thanksgiving theme show today. Next week, we'll finish up with why Christians should be involved in politics. I haven't forgotten about it. Very excited to finish that series. But today, I want to talk about why you, yes, you, are better off than a billionaire. Now, one of the things we do in this podcast, because parents, you are your teen's most important teacher, we include pause point questions where I encourage you to stop the podcast. Yes, stop listening to me, unless you're my children. Everyone else, you can stop listening to me and then discuss. So let's start with our first question. What makes someone rich? Think about that. I think we have an answer that pops readily to mind, and I'd encourage you to think a little bit beyond that. As we always do on this show, we're going to start with arguments for the wrong side. And this may even be the side that you agree with, the side that, no, you are not. I am not better off than a billionaire. I was prepping for the show, and my oldest son, also a producer on the show, I have to shout out my beautiful oldest daughter for producing the show. But co-producer, my son, was looking at my notes and reading them and said, "You're better off than a billionaire?" I'm not. Very matter-of-factly. So we'll see if I can convince him of this. But you know what he's bringing forward is the obvious, right? How in the world am I better off than a billionaire? Billionaires have more money than I do. They have more money than you do. They're fabulously wealthy. Materially, they're better off than my family, and I presume yours. Now, sure, they may have a health problem or a family problem or live in spiritual darkness, but on a purely material level, they are better off than I am. And they're not just better off than I am, they're better off than I could ever hope to be. They have way more money. You remember, Victor? Money buys you stuff. So let's have a pause point. What would prevent a billionaire from buying something that you could afford right now? And I'll give you a hint. What could prevent a billionaire from buying a cell phone? What could prevent them from buying your parents' cell phone? And I'm not looking for, well, it's my parents and they own it. No, what would prevent a billionaire from buying a cell phone? I want you to think about that because there is an answer, and the answer may surprise you. And as you consider it, let me tell you about Mama Bear Prayers, a podcast for moms who are knee deep in dishes and training their teens. Whether you are in the carpool lane or the coffee line, host Charity Rios wants to come alongside you and deepen your relationship with Jesus. Now, as every parent knows, raising kids has its ups and its downs. Combine that with the busyness of life, especially during the week of Thanksgiving. This back and forth, this hustle and bustle can leave you feeling overwhelmed and even isolated. And as the mom of 4 busy boys, Charity knows this firsthand. It's why she created Mama Bear Prayers, to support moms who are on the journey of raising children. God works through prayer. So check out Mama Bear Prayers today. Now, like my son, you probably disagree with my contention. How in the world am I better off than a billionaire? You probably think I've finally lost it. My many children have finally driven me crazy. Now that may or may not be true, but let's go with it for just a little bit. Let's have another pause point. Which of the great 8 questions would you apply here? As a reminder, the great 8 questions are questions we keep in our mental toolbox that allows us to examine issues. We aren't going to have all the answers right off the bat. And so we have these questions in our mind to kind of dig below the surface. Question 1, what happens next? Question 2, has this been tried before? Question 3, is there a principle involved? Question 4, what are the trade-offs? Question 5, what do you mean by that? Question 6, is this an appeal to emotion or logic? Question 7, am I focused on the speaker or the argument? And question 8, what does the Bible say? Well, today, I'd like us to look at question number 5. What do you mean by that, Victor, when you say that you're better off than a billionaire? Specifically, which billionaire are you talking about? All right, there's my sleight of hand, because the billionaire I am talking about is John Rockefeller, born in 1839 and who passed away in 1937. And you have it better than he ever did. Rockefeller founded the Standard Oil Company and became one of the richest men in American history. When he died, he had a fortune worth around $1.4 billion. Adjusted for inflation, that's $31 billion. He did have more money than you. He had more money than me. And we have better stuff. Let's have a pause point. Is it money that makes someone rich? Or is it the stuff you can buy with that money? Think about this. Say Elon Musk is flying on a private plane, and for some reason he packs suitcases with $4 billion in cash in them. The plane crashes, and he lands on a desert island, and there he is, and he has $4 billion in his suitcases. And so what? He can't actually buy anything with that money. So think about the life of John Rockefeller. How many lights did you turn on today? Well, Thomas Edison didn't patent the incandescent light bulb until Rockefeller was in his 40s. There wasn't an electrical grid, so small generators powered the first light bulbs. Today, electricity is an afterthought. The only time we think about it is if for some reason the power goes out. Now it's November, so it's cool, but a few months ago, many Americans, especially those here in Las Vegas, needed air conditioning to make it through the summer. Ooh, tough luck for Rockefeller. Willis Carrier didn't invent air conditioning until 1902. The first public building to have air conditioning was the Rivoli Theater in Times Square in 1925. Rockefeller was in his 80s. The 1940 Packard was the first car to offer factory-installed air conditioning. But Rockefeller died in 1937. Now, Americans are glued to their televisions and computers, watching an average of 35 hours a week, and maybe some of that now is moved on to social media, but Rockefeller sure wasn't. The first commercially produced TV didn't come out until the year after his death. For most of Rockefeller's life, you went to the butcher for meat, the baker for bread, and the vegetable stand for produce. The general store was a small, cramped, and dimly lit building. Now, Rockefeller certainly could pay someone else to do his shopping, but you have access to more things than he did. The average grocery store today has around 44,000 items. And if that's not enough, Amazon has 400 million items available for doorstep delivery. Even for $1 billion, Rockefeller couldn't have bought an iPhone or computer or accessed the internet. The $700 phone sitting in your pocket contains instant access to more information than Rockefeller saw in his lifetime. The average life expectancy for someone born in 1900 was 47 years old. Today, it's a little bit under 80. One big reason for that jump is that childbirth is much safer today, both for moms and babies. In 1900, that's not that long ago, 125 years ago, almost 10% of children died in childbirth or within a year of being born. For every 1,000 births, 6 to 9 women died of complications. Today, infant mortality has plummeted to just 0.7%. A mother's risk of dying while giving birth has dropped 99%. And there's so much more. Your car, your medical care, your refrigerator, the ability to travel, all surpass what Rockefeller had access to. It's incredible when you think about it from that perspective, but it wasn't inevitable. Let's have a pause point. Why have there been so many technological advancements in the last 150 years? Now, if you listen to the left, they might tell you that it was government. Government did it all. We need government to solve problems. Please. Government agencies and central planners didn't coordinate this dramatic improvement in human well-being. Instead, millions of individuals tried to make themselves better off by providing a superior good or service, trying to make a profit, trying to make money. And because the United States has had a relatively free economy, businessmen and women can't force their customers to buy their products. The transactions occurred only if both parties benefited. These are called mutually beneficial transactions. That's the calling card of free market capitalism. And those transactions create value. They've created so much value that you have a better standard of living than the richest man in America had just 85 years ago. That's incredible. That's just take a step back, take a moment. I know it's hard, especially when you're young and you only know what's been around you. But think of what the world was like just 100 years ago, a mere 100 years ago. And this is why the left's attacks on the rich or the 1% are so misguided. Aside from those profiting via government coercion, the rich are rich because of how much they've improved the lives of others. And further, just by living in 21st century America, you are the 1%. You have it better than 99% of the people who've ever lived on planet Earth. Poor billionaire John Rockefeller never had it so good. And that is something to be grateful for. I hope I've proved, shown, convinced that you are better off than a billionaire. But there's two more points that I want to make here, especially connected to Thanksgiving. First, we need to be careful not to take the material possessions that God has given us for granted. Now, that is easy to do because just like we talked about, we don't look back to 100 years ago. We don't look back to 1,000 years ago. We don't look back to 5,000 years ago. The people that we compare ourselves to are those who are right around us. And yes, there certainly are people right around us who have more stuff than we do, who have something that we want. But don't lose sight of the fact that in terms of material possessions, you have so much more than almost every single human being who has ever lived. And further, our stuff didn't become because we're so great, but it is a gift from God's hands. Now, this is written in Deuteronomy 8, when the Israelites are about to go into the promised land. And I'm not claiming America is Israel, but I think there's a principle here that applies. This is the Lord. When you have eaten and are satisfied, praise the Lord your God for the good land he has given you. Be careful that you do not forget the Lord your God, failing to observe his commands, his laws, his decrees, that I am giving you this day. Otherwise, when you eat and are satisfied, when you build fine homes and settle down, and when your herds and flocks grow large and your silver and gold increase and all you have is multiplied, then your heart will become proud and you will forget the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. This is Moses talking, I'm sorry. And then Moses talks about how the Lord protected the Israelites and led them out of Egypt. And then he warns, you may say to yourself, my power and the strength of my hands have produced this wealth for me. But remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth, and so confirms his covenant, which he swore to your forefathers as it is today. Think about that right there. But remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth. And so when we think about all of the stuff that we have, and when we have that perspective, and we realize how much stuff we have, we need to remember that it comes from God, that it is a gift from him, that he has given us the ability, that he has placed you in a country that has so much wealth, not because of any merit that we have, but as a gift from God. And of course, this leads to a second point. Now, while Thanksgiving is an American holiday, giving thanks is a biblical command. That ties back to question 8. What does the Bible say? Psalms 137, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. But here's a pause point. What can poor, persecuted Christians around the world give thanks for? And closer to home, what can we give thanks for when we face real difficulties? Because here in America, we have a lot of material wealth, so much wealth that we're better off than billionaires 100 years ago. But that's certainly not true for many Christians around the world. What can they give thanks for? And even with our wealth, even with how much we have, there are going to be times in life when we face real difficulties, things that hurt, whether it's an opportunity we don't get, whether it's something that happens with our family, whether it's a health issue. There are going to be challenges, and we shouldn't pretend that they don't exist. So what can we give thanks for in those circumstances? Cindy, if you want, you can tell the kids they can come in. My children are about to make a cameo. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. But here's what we can give thanks for. This is from Psalms 94 and Psalms 95. I'm sorry. Psalms 95 and 96. Psalms 95. Come, let us sing for joy to the Lord. Let us shout aloud to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before him with thanksgiving and extol him with music and song. For the Lord is the great God, the great King above all gods. In his hands are the depths of the earth, and the mountain peaks belong to him. The sea is his, for he made it, and his hands formed the dry land. Come, let us bow down and worship. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. For he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture, the flock under his care. And in Psalms 96, sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord, all the earth. Sing to the Lord. Praise his name. Proclaim his salvation day after day. Declare his glory among the nations, for his marvelous deeds among the peoples. For great is the Lord and most worthy of praise. He is to be feared above all gods. So that is what we can be thankful for. That is what Christians around the world can be thankful for. Not for the temporal possessions which can come and go, but for who God is, and that doesn't change. All right, I'm going to give thanks for my children and thank them that they weren't too incredibly loud. All right, come here, guys. Say hi. Okay. All right, now we gotta pause. Okay, Tammy. All right, Hopi, come here. Come here. Say hi, Hopi. You say hi. All right. I'm guessing that was not great podcasting. So but those are my children, and God loves you. And happy Thanksgiving.